Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night, and there were a lot of very interesting updates. First, we're going to start with Sumy region, with the region on the northern part, east northern part of Ukraine. The Russians made another massive strike against this city, and the Ukrainian sources published a lot of videos of the results of those attacks, and probably the Russians were using guided bombs or missiles. The Ukrainians reported that the Russians attacked the residential area, but later the Russians provided us their clarification of the situation. Basically, according to the Russian sources, they attacked and destroyed the highest artillery school in that settlement. Probably as an act of revenge, the Ukrainians made their massive drone attack against Moscow, and somewhere in the morning, the Russian sources started publishing a lot of videos from that area that Ukrainians attack almost the central part of the settlement. The Ukrainians attacked the area, business area of the Moscow. There was a drone attack, and in this video, for example, we see how a drone and a strike was inside of the city. The Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation reported that as a result of attack, the Ukrainians were using 3 drones, and one of the drones was shot down by the air defense forces, and 2 drones were shot down by the Russian air electronic warfare weapon. And basically the video of explosion that we saw was the result of that attack. So basically one drone lost its control and fell down inside of the residential area in Moscow. Now we are moving further to the south, and also Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation reported that during the previous night the Ukrainians made another massive attack against Crimea. During that attack, the Ukrainians were using up to 25 drones. 16 of those drones were destroyed as a result of air defense system, and 9 drones were captured by the electronic warfare and was shot down and put on the ground or in the vicinity of the Black Sea. Now we're moving to the situation in the ground. The most important, of course, updates are coming from Staromayorsk, from the settlement where the Russians launched their counter-offensive operation. Currently, we haven't received any updates, any video or photo confirmation of Russian progress in that settlement. We got just the text messages from the Russian sources that they managed to penetrate the Ukraine's defense belt, forced the Ukrainians to step back, that the Russians managed to capture a lot of prisoners of war and so on, but yet we haven't received any video or photo confirmation of that. Furthermore, some sources reported that 247th Regiment of the airborne forces was forced to be evacuated from that settlement because of heavy losses. We got this update somewhere at 9 p.m. of the local time yesterday. This morning we got completely opposite update about the same brigade, that nobody was evacuated, that there are still clashes and so on. So for now we are not going to update this map showing that the Russians managed to return control because we haven't received any photo or video confirmation of that. As I understand, the Ukrainians still control the northern part. Maybe the Russians were able to enter the southern one, and currently there are still very fierce fightings in this area. Now we're moving to Orekhov bridgehead, to the Bradley Square. Now from this area we got just one video how the Ukrainians were trying to demine the western flank of their support road. On this video we see how the Ukrainian soldier was trying to demine, this is engineering weapon, how the Ukrainian soldier was trying to demine this area. This engineering truck was discovered by the Russian drone, and then there was Lancet strike. Furthermore, we got more videos, more details of failed Ukrainian attack in the on the east of Robotyne. On this video we see how the Russians were tracking and controlling the Ukrainian forces, then they started bombing them, and a lot of armored vehicles, as we saw in the previous videos, were destroyed as a result of that failed attack. Very interesting videos are continue coming from Klishchiivka area, from this bridgehead, and the most probably important video update is the Russian attack against the Ukrainian positions along this forest line. The author of that video claims that the Russians managed to discover and to track the Ukrainian forces along that forest line. There are small ammo depot, operational ammo depot in that area, and after artillery strike, the Russians managed to destroy that ammo depot. As you can see, according to my map, this territory at least used to be under Russian control, but as I understand, as a result of fierce fightings during the previous days, the Ukrainians managed to establish control over this area, so we will update this map before the next video. So basically the Ukrainians are much closer to the Russian positions in Andreevka than I thought. Furthermore, the Russian sources published more details of the failed offensive operation of the Ukrainian forces on the northern part of Klishchiivka. This is not a fresh video. This video is fresh, but this episode is not fresh. This situation took place a few days ago, but now we have more details. Now we can understand better the situation. According to this video, we see that the Ukrainians had possibilities to use this area for regrouping, for redeploying of their forces. Basically, few days ago, the Russians have already left the forest lines and the fortifications on the hill and the western part of Klishchiivka, inside of settlement itself and closer to the railways. On this video, we see how the Ukrainian infantry machines landed their troopers. After that, the Russians start bombing, and at some point second, they destroyed that armored vehicle. So there was a very fierce clashes. After that, the Ukrainians sent their machine for evacuation, for regrouping of their forces, and that was an episode of evacuation that we discussed probably yesterday or a few days ago. And also we got another video from Bilogorovka. The Russians continue bombing and shelling that settlement. We haven't received any video or photos updates from this settlement probably for a week or something like this or more. After a small regrouping, and the Russians managed to bring more munition, more soldiers, and currently they restarted their offensive operation in this direction, and probably they will synchronize their actions with the main forces that attacks on Tarskoye salient, and Russians will try to capture this settlement within the next few weeks in the same time with the forces on the Kupinsk and Karamzinovka bridgeheads. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.